Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on Ravenport. We are going to carry straight on from where we left off in the last episode, so let's get to it. We'll back in, we'll tip, and then we'll pull out, and then we'll get the next one and we'll push that one in as far as we can, and then we'll unload, and then we'll pull out again. And let me just sort of straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Right. Let's ease that in there. You don't want to go in too hard because otherwise we'll damage something. There. Well, not necessarily damage. Well, I suppose we're not going to damage anything in the game, but you could do. So you do want to sort of push it in a little bit gently because otherwise, well, even for the game, like we end up getting stuck. That's our big issue, is that we end up getting stuck, and we really, really don't want to get stuck. So, you would just sort of ease it in reasonably gently, I would have thought. And then, there's no chance of you getting stuck or anything getting damaged. And then, once it's there, you start unloading as you pull out. And everything is all tickety-boo. So if I take that one, I'm hitching that one on because I want to move to that one like that. I just want to remove the dolly off of there for a minute. And I'll bring that one out over here. I'm going to put that all the way up there like that. And then I'm going to unhitch the dolly right there. And then I'm going to put that one right there. It's just to make it easier to hitch them back on again. That's why I'm doing it like that. And then we'll go back round again. And these clamps are huge. Seriously, there's so much space on them. Bring that one round. I'm quite looking forward to being able to start selling here. We don't need both trailers, but I'm thinking that we could use this one trailer. Use one of these trailers. We can use that narrow mouse thing. And then I think you can bring it over and you can tip in the front of that with a trailer. Now, I don't know about that. That's something that we will have to test. If we can't tip in there with the trailer, if there is no way to do that, we will definitely be getting some sort of modded bucket to tip in there. Because there's no way I'm going to be going with a standard 5,000 litre bucket or 6,000 litre bucket and unloading all of this, right? 1.1 million litres of chaff. I'm not going to sit there and put all of that into that thing over there without anything extra, right? That's just going to take too long. That's just going to be a pain. That's going to be a painful experience, completely and utterly painful. So as we don't need this trailer anywhere else at the moment, we'll leave this whole contraption here. We'll leave the truck, the trailers, all of it. We'll leave that right there. We'll go back over this way, and we will go and get you. And we'll use this one just to roll down that silage. Once I've rolled down the silage and we get that clamped down, we've got our ploughing is finished in the bottom field, so we can go back down to that one and we can take a look there. And just make sure that everything is right on there. We've got a load more money now, which means that we can go and buy more chickens and we can set some more of those up. And what I'm actually thinking is another 3 or 4 chicken pens, because, you know, this is supposed to be a massive chicken producing operation, and we have got a lot of chickens, but I'd like to go bigger. I definitely want to go bigger, but in order to be able to properly go bigger with the chickens, we're going to want more wheat. Well, wheat or barley, it doesn't matter, one or the other. So that's got to be our next thing. We're going to need to plant that over in that field over there. Now, the other thing that should be noted is that we've just done maize, which means that we're now required to go and plough that field. So that's got to be, really, our next task, is ploughing that field. Before we go and buy anything else, we want to get a plough, and we want to plough it. Now, fortunately, there is a Gregoire Besson plough that would be absolutely perfect for the job. Or we could use one of the cultivator type things, and we could do it like that. Except that the cultivator doesn't actually... I'm going to blanket that silo right there. That one was, I think it was like 1.1 million litres or something like that. The problem with using cultivators is that they don't actually plough the land. So we don't really want to do that. But there was, I think it was in here, I think it was a... We got the Culti Plough Platinum right there. It can be used instead of a plough. Now that does 7 miles an hour. There is a Stevie version of this one that we could use. And that does actually leave the field as ploughed, because that might be the better option. Wondering if we should... I keep saying I don't really want to use the Stevie versions excessively to start with. I would like to use some of the other ones. We've got this mod right here. Prepare fields for the next sowing and create new fields. That one's 25 meters wide there. Now, there doesn't seem to be a vast difference between these. You've got that one right there, which is supposed to be 15 meters. And you've got that one right there, which is supposed to be 25 meters. But there doesn't seem to be any difference between the two of them. And I would like to test this one. It does 9 miles an hour. What does the Gregoire Besson do? That does 7 miles an hour. So that's a little bit slower. That one's 10.5 meters, and this one over here is 25 meters. I like the 25 meters. So I think, wait a minute. 5 section, 49 foot 3 inches. That says 25 meters there. Design basic, spiked tooth leveler, crumbler rollers, and basic. I suppose really you'd want the crumbler rollers, wouldn't you? I don't know. Depends on the soil, really. 49 foot 3 inch there, 49 foot 3 inch there. So I don't know which is which with the 25 and the 15. I don't know if this is an error with it. That was Lizard and that one's John Deere. I don't know if that... It might just be a typo. That might simply be a typo on it, and it might not... It may not be... You know, it might be that it's not supposed to be on there. This one says John Deere. What does this one say? It says John Deere is... well, it looks identical. Looking at the front. Soil management system. It's got the John Deere badge on it, even though it says Lizard. Right, well, let's go with this one right here. We will try this one. Yes. Okay. And then back. And we've got this bad boy right here. So I'm going to jump out of that one a minute. And we're going to reset that one back to the store just because it's a little bit quicker. He's a bit slow on the road, isn't he? So it's just going to be easier if we do this a second. We go to you and we reset. Yes, okay. Right, like that. And then we've got that one there. So there is this cultivator. It's 25 meters. The Gregoire Besson plough is a really awesome plough, and I really do like using it. But I don't think that that field up there is really the best field for that particular job. Right, I really don't. This here, I think this is going to work quite well. We'll see. Once we got to get up there yet. We'll drive all the way up there, and then we can get this beast of a thing unfolded. We've also got to dodge all the traffic coming up through here, and this is always the tricky bit, is dodging the traffic up here with 3 wheels on the side. So let me just wait and weave in and out a minute. So far, so good. As we don't meet too many more cars, we should be absolutely fine. And get all the way up there. So we can get... This field then will be ploughed. That'll be classed as ploughed. Then we want to get a planter. Actually, I suppose we want to put some fertilizer on first. If we put fertilizer on first, then we can get the planter and we can put stuff on afterwards. We'll check the map. We'll get it ploughed a minute. Then we'll check the map and we'll see about the fertilizer. Because if we get one of the big seed drills, we could do... now, it's not going to take very long. We could load it up back at the farm. At least I'm hoping we can load it up back at the farm. And bring up a big seed drill. We could also bring the big seed... Right. Getting in through here. Can I actually go via this... Right, there's nothing coming. Can I get through here? Yes, I can. Right. We can get round that way. Perfect. I don't know why I wanted to go through that way. I just did. I just felt like something that I needed to do. Do not judge me. So start unfolding this one. Let's see what this is like. I'm going to see if we got any options. We got allow, create fields, plough. Right, it's just saying plough. So whether it will leave it as a cultivated or a ploughed surface, I'm not quite sure. It's actually a big cultivator. And this isn't like a chisel plough, really. So I don't know. Would you plough a field with a machine like this in the US? This, to me, doesn't seem like something that you would use for doing any ploughing. Right, oh, there. It's leaving ploughed lines behind, but it just doesn't seem to me like a machine that you would use for doing ploughing. It's like the disking, it does kind of break up the surface. But, I mean, I don't know. Is there places where you just go through and you use a set of discs as for ploughing, and this would be all that you would do in soil preparation, and that would be classed as ploughing? It sort of just seems like a bit of light surface scratching, a bit of cultivating to just not even to prepare the top of the soil. Mostly we would use discs in this country. It's not so much preparing the soil, but to go through and chop up a heavy crop residue. If you've got a lot of crop residue there, you'd go through with a set of discs, and that would help chop it up and just incorporate it a little bit into the top layer of the soil before you go through with your seed drills and you start working it through there. So, right, it's definitely removing that. Let's go here and... Right, it's removing everything else that we need on there. If I take that one off there, we've got a little bit of wanting lime over there, but we can ignore that. That's such a insignificant amount that we can completely ignore that. We remove that there. So it's fertilizer that we want. That's going to be the main thing that we're going to want. We're going to want fertilizer. We're also going to want some fertilizer down on field 19, but we're not worrying about field 19 at the moment. So I think if we were to do twice around... Well, we definitely want to do at least once around this field. Maybe if we do twice around the field, and then we'll let the hired help carry on with it. I'm not sure how well the hired help will carry on with it. Because this is... You've got to remember, this is a fair-sized tractor, isn't it? And so it needs a lot of room to turn round. It needs a lot of leeway. So I think we are going to need to do twice around the field in order to get this to work. But that's looking quite good. I'm quite liking that. I'm thinking that because this one is a disc rather than an actual, it's disc ploughing, and it's not like moldboard ploughing. I don't think that we would need to cultivate. I know that you don't need to cultivate in the game in order to be able to go and plant, but I still want to follow real life as closely as possible, even if we are using things like Stevie's mods and stuff like that and speeding things up. So if I was disc ploughing like this in real life, I don't think that I would then need to get a different cultivator and go along afterwards in order to be able to do the planting. I think that just doing this and then going straight in with the planter, that would be alright. What you wouldn't normally do in real life is go through with a moldboard plough and then go straight in with a planter, because it makes the ground quite uneven and quite rough, and you get all the big soil clods and stuff. So you need to break that up and even it up before you go through with a seed drill. Now, the only time that rule wouldn't be followed, the only time that there would be an exception to that, is if your seed drill also had a powered cultivator on the front. So if you got like a powered a power cultivator, a power harrow is the word I'm looking for. If you've got a power harrow on the front of your machine, and that one goes along in front, and then you pull along afterwards with your seed drill, then yes, you could go straight in after the plough. And I know plenty of people do use a setup like that. I know a lot of people that use the whole power harrow setup without ploughing at all, and just go straight through like that. Although that's less common. That is, I know of people that do it, But that, I think, is less common. It's either you go in and you plough, and then it's the power harrow and seed drill, or you just go through with the cultivator, or you direct drill straight into the field as it is. And it seems to be one or the other. There are beginning, like, now that some people have been direct drilling for 10, 20 years, some people are experiencing some issues with direct drilling. Like, constant direct drilling for years and years and years is starting to create issues with the soil, depending on the types of crops that are being used. So it's like the long-term effects of the direct drills is quite fascinating. In some regions, they've become quite detrimental, and farmers are now having to employ a whole different range of techniques in order to not have so many issues with it. Some farmers are going back to more regular moldboard ploughing. I'm talking about the UK here, and I'm talking about at least the farmers that I know of in the UK and the ones that I've read about. I don't know about the rest of the world, because obviously different amounts of rainfall, different climates, different soil types, everything changes, everything's different. But here in the UK, some farmers are finding that they're having to go back to more regular ploughing than what they were doing because of the long-term effects of just using direct drills. Although that seems to be the ones that were like just arable farms. The ones that were mixed farms, so they would also include grass into their rotation. Now, some farms would put field into grass and then leave it in grass as part of the rotation for 3, 5, or even 7 years. And then they would rotate it back into arable for 3 or 4 years and then rotate it back to grass. Now, those, when you go from grass to arable, it would need to be ploughed up the first time, like the proper moldboard plough, cultivate, and then prepare the crop. But for the next couple of years, while it's actually just an arable field for 4 years, say, it would be done just as it would be direct drilled, and you wouldn't have any issues with direct drilling. Then you go along and you plant another round of grass on it, and that would be it. You wouldn't then need to worry about it, because you're putting grass in there. The grass roots, actually, they spend 5 years or even 3 years in some places, but usually I think 5 years. 5 years is the more common option. The grass roots going in takes quite a while to lower down. The grass roots that they grow down, and they actually break up this sort of hard pan that it starts to form beneath the surface, and this is what keeps the soil quite viable and keeps it working along quite nicely. The ones that have longer periods between grass lays on their field, they tend to get lower yields on the crops as time goes on, because you start to get this hard pan forming where the roots of the crops can't get through, but then the grass roots seem to be stronger than the roots on, like, the wheat and barley and the oilseed rape, or canola, whichever you call it, and other crops like that. The grass is slightly more aggressive, and those roots are able to push down through, and they actually physically break up this hard pan that forms beneath the surface about a foot down. And sometimes it's higher than that. Sometimes this hard pan will form just like 6 inches below the surface. And so the grass roots get down there, and they break this up and allow the roots then to penetrate all the way down. Some varieties of grass, the roots will go down 3 or even 4 meters deep, which standard arable crops, they do not reach down anywhere near that far. I don't remember exactly how far arable roots do reach down. I think it's about 1 meter that they can go down. But grass, and it's not all types, but certain types of grass can go down 3 or 4 meters, and they go down a lot further than you expect. Now, you dig down 3 or 4 meters, and you're not going to be really seeing a lot in the way of roots. And you're probably thinking, well, I've dug down that far for if you're talking nonsense. Some of you will know about it, and some of you won't. The roots that do get down that far, they're the ones that go searching for water and for certain nutrients in that. But they're really, really, really fine roots. And they're like barely bigger than a hair. So they're actually difficult to see. They are actually quite difficult to see. And it's not all varieties of grass that have these roots. Some varieties of grass don't have these really, really super fine roots. Some of them do, right? It does depend on the variety of grass that you've got. And there are certain weeds that do the same. They push down this massive, really, really long roots. But they're really super, super fine. They're finer than hairs. Well, they're like, it is literally just like small hairs. And they're so fine, they're incredibly easy to break, but they're also difficult to, very, very difficult to see. I've seen, like, videos, documentaries and stuff about them, and why certain plants do a lot better in dry climates than others, when you look at these plants and you think, well, they don't look a lot different. What is the difference? And the difference is these fine roots that they're able to push down far deeper than any other plant. And that's what sets them apart. And so you get the grass, and it pushes these roots down through, and those roots actually help to break up these hard pans that form in the under the surface with the arable crops. I've always thought that was quite fascinating, that you've got grass is able to actually help do that and rescue the fields and keep everything ticking along quite nicely. It's not always the case. It's definitely not always the case. Sometimes other things have had to, need to be done. It does depend, like I said before, on climate and country and everything else. Right, I've been rattling away for a bit. Let me just have a quick drink. Once we get down to the other end of the field, we'll put the hired help going with this job right here. And then we'll run down to our smaller field down the bottom, and we will have a look at that one. We want to just finish tidying up the ploughing around the edge of the field, and then we want to start the cultivating in there. And then we're going to want to get our direct drill going in there as well, so that we can get the next crop planted. And I think we'll do oats in that one. We'll do oats in the small field down the bottom for horses. And then up here, we will do a huge, great big field of either wheat or barley. I haven't decided yet whether it be wheat or barley. Probably wheat. But it'll be one or the other. Wheat or barley up here. And that will then be sufficient to feed a huge quantity of chickens. Because we're going to want to buy a massive number of chickens as well. So we've all of the dreams that we've got for our farm and how we're going to be working things will all start to come to fruition. We'll have a massive chicken farm here, and we'll be able to produce a huge amount of chickens and eggs, and also sheep. I haven't, I did say that we were going to be expanding the number of sheep, and I haven't ruled that out. Right, we might be able to chuck in an extra bit somewhere for some more sheep, but maybe... I know a lot of you are keen for us to move on from this map, and we did set a target. We've got to get those fields over there, so I'm thinking maybe we'll just ignore the sheep for now, because obviously the more expense it means it's going to take a little bit to make up for it. I know that the chickens are really good. The chickens seem to make up for their costs really, really quickly, far quicker than I'd have thought that they would. So we might just stick with chickens, and we'll... Right, let that one lower down. It takes quite a long time to lower down. It lifts out fast. It takes a while to lower down. And we get to there, and I will press H. And that one's away. Right. Nice and straight. We'll just witness the turn at the end just up here and just see how that does. Because we've gone twice around the field, so most of the field's already done now. You look at it overall here. And let's put back the needs ploughing, see? Right out to there's a little tiny strip there that we missed, but we've done most of the field now. Yeah, the chickens make up for it really, really. Why have you stopped? Okay. I don't want to fold it. I'm wondering if this one doesn't, if the hired help doesn't like this one. Have we got one of these instances where the hired help is just going to flat out refuse to turn at the end of the row with this particular mod? If it does, I'm going to be bitterly disappointed with it. So let's try that again. We drop that one down. Right, it's lowering it down. It's doing that bit. It is doing that bit. But it looks like it's getting to the end of the row. I know I've overlapped it a little bit too much there. It looks like it's getting to the end of the row, and then it's just stopping. And we don't want it to do that. That's going to make our lives a little bit more difficult. It means that we're going to have to just come up and manually... Well, we've got two choices. We can either come up and manually do it, or I could go and get the Gregoire-Besson plough, and I could just bring that one up, and we could finish this job off with the Gregoire-Besson rather than using this one. That might be a better option, actually. You get to there, and... Right, you're not having it, are you? Okay. Judgment. Judgment call here. First need to unfold. It is unfolded. I'm guessing I need to fold it up. It won't let me unhitch it. We've got to fold it up first before I can unhitch it. And then it'll go up like that. I was just going to reset this one down to the shop just because it's faster. So let's get that one all the way folded up. So I like this one, but it doesn't like the hired help. I don't know if it's to do with the big bud or if it's just to do with the culti plough, but it definitely doesn't like it. Right, so I can unhitch that one right there. Then I can go to the garage here. We'll go to you, and we will return that one back. Okay, and then I will go in here, and we will go to ploughs, and this time we will pick up that bad boy right there. It's 10.5 meters. Universal mold boards or slat. We'll go for the universals, like that. And we will lease that one there. Gregoire-Besson. I do like this plough. It's got to be said, I do like this plough. So we don't want dollies. We want to go to miscellaneous right there. We want the trailed lifter. And we want to lease that one as well. Yes, okay. And then I got to come out of here. I got to jump out of that machine. And then I can reset it back down to the shop. Like that. Yes, okay. And then I can jump back down here. And that's not very convenient, is it? Leaving the trailed lifter that close when I've got triple wheels on the back. That's just making my life difficult. Right, now I can bring you up this way. And then I can get that plough on the back. I do really like this plough. There's something about this plough that I actually really, really like. I don't quite know what or why I really like it, but I do. There's something quite amazing. It's just the length of it. Like, the sheer scale of this beast is absolutely brilliant. Right? It really is. It's a wonderful, wonderful machine. Now, where is that train? Right, there's no sign. Looking right down the bottom there's no sign of it. Last thing I want to do is get this caught on here. So we'll go up through... Oops. Okay, I didn't actually mean to drift off that way. I was watching the back of the plough instead of the tractor. Should probably pay a little bit more attention to the tractor. So we'll take this one up to the field up the top, and hopefully this one will actually be able to do the ploughing. You've got to love the look of this thing coming up the road. It doesn't like the road signs, but you got to love it, right? Well, there we go, folks. I'm afraid that's it. We've run out of time, which means that we need to head on home. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.